So we've got three 1985 Tri-Z 250s here, and what we need to do is design a custom headlight housing because we've got these upgraded forks right here. These are from BBC Racing, so you can see, I mean, look at the tremendous size difference here. That's what she said. This is the original, and you can see the size of the forks, and then boom, look at the BBC one. Major difference. So this will take CRF 150R forks, a relatively small fork, but in comparison to the OEM ones, you can see just how much beefier the aftermarket setup is. Now the reason that people do this in general is because the OEM forks, they're just too small. I've got two sets right here, and you can see they're super skinny, man. Believe it or not, after cleaning these up and taking the gaiters off, those little, you know, the spring-looking wrinkle things, I guess you could call them, they're not straight. So one of them is perfectly straight. I think it's this one right here. If it's bent, I can't tell. I tried, putting it up against a straight edge and stuff. I think it's perfect. And then the other three, they're not bad, but they're all slightly bent. So evidently, on the 1985 especially, that was the year that had the skinniest forks, they almost always bend, and it's really hard to find used ones because if you find a used one, it's usually bent. So that is why people upgrade to these BBC heavy-duty kits. They come with these nice billet clamps, and then they put the CRF 150R forks. The problem is that we've got our OEM headlight housing that I want to put onto the aftermarket kit. So the kit, or the original headlight housing, will mount up to the original clamps, and you can see there's a different setup here. So it would typically mount, you know, right here on this bottom bolt, but you can see there's a totally different clamping method with the aftermarket kit. Now the company that makes the aftermarket kit, BBC, does have an aftermarket LED setup that they put on there, but it totally changes the look of the bike. And this is a resto mod, so I want to keep the original look, and I think the headlight is like really, it's in your face and stuff. So if you change that, you're totally changing the dynamic of the machine. People are going to look at it, and right away they're going to know that's not an original Tri-Z. So even though this isn't an original Tri-Z, when we're done with it, I want it to like maintain that look. So we're going to have to do some modifications here. It is not going to be easy though, because not only do we have to modify the OEM roll cage to fit onto our triple trees, we also will have to modify the housing to accept the new LED lights, because we're not just swapping out the bulbs. I've got new headlight housings that are totally different, so I want them to fit in here like the OEM ones do, and it may not be that easy. A lot of times when I'm doing custom fabrication work, you kind of just take it as it comes. I have like a rough idea in my head of how I want to design this thing, but I think, you know, as you're doing the project, a lot of times the plan changes. So let's take one thing at a time. First things first, I believe we had three Tri-Z's here. So we had the one roller, we had the one complete machine, and then as I was looking through the bins and stuff, it appears that there were actually three different Tri-Z's that were all, you know, compiled into bins and stuff. Well, anyways, some of the parts are nice and some of them aren't. And we've got this really nice roll cage for the headlight housing right here. And then this one is, it's seen better days. It's twisted up pretty good. So now, in my plan here, I think we're going to be doing some bending, chopping, and welding. So I would prefer not to destroy this museum piece right here. This one is really nice. So we're going to set this one aside. We'll use it as a template to make this one nice and straight. And I don't think this one is ever going to be perfect again unless we put a lot of time into it. So I don't feel that bad making modifications to this one. So the first thing I'd like to do is try to straighten out this frame as much as we can. You can see it's twisted up pretty good, man. It's definitely seen better days. So I don't think this thing is really all that strong. So we might be able to get away with just putting it in the vise and doing a lot of this by hand. It's really not bent so badly that I think we have to get crazy with it. Let's see what we can do. Believe it or not, that's actually straightening it out. That crossbar is pretty nice and straight now. A lot of times when I'm bending things, I'll brace them with blocks of wood and stuff. But this is bending fairly easy, and I don't have to tighten this in the vise so much that I'm kinking any of the steel. So for now, I don't even think we need to do that. You can see how easy this is bending. I'm a pretty strong dude, you know, I'm like 230 pounds, so my weight definitely helps, but this ain't too bad. Looks like we've got a pretty nice right angle there. See, the one side is nice and straight, so we just got to do this one over here. It's bent way out. It's pretty close. Perfect. That looks pretty good. The only thing we need to do is straighten out these tabs. Both of them are twisted. Man, having a bench vise is key. If there's any tool I could ever recommend somebody having, it would be a bench vise, dude. You can do so much stuff with it. Makes that job really easy. If you didn't have the bench vise, I don't know. All right, let's see what it looks like. See, it matches up with the old one real nice. Pretty much spot on right there. Get the good one out of the way. And we'll take our headlight housing and just make sure this will be like a nice kind of template to make sure everything lines up nicely. And I mean, that looks pretty good to me. Looks nice and square. I'm happy with that. So phase one is complete. Victory in the books. You guys know how I am, man. Small victories keeps you from wanting to quit the job. It's looking pretty good. You guys are going to have to bear with me, and I apologize in advance, man. This place is a freaking mess. There is just stuff all over the place, man. There is just, to be completely honest with you, it's pretty overwhelming. There's just, I've got too much stuff, man. You can see I've got 3 gas tanks here. There's a bunch of 3s. If you come over here and look in this box here, there's like 3 wire harnesses in there. We've got extra pipes. We've got these extra plastics. There is stuff just all over the place. These boxes over here are all separated. So all the parts are cleaned and whatnot, and I have them separated. This is going to be all blackjack color. This is going to be texture black. This is going to be a silver, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that color yet. And then I've got the frame over here. I've got the wheels and all this stuff over here. We're actually not going to be even using those wheels. And believe it or not, man, these are expensive and they're in really good shape too. Anyways, the cases are out here. I spent a lot of time cleaning these and getting the old grit and grime and crap off of them. Just a lot of work and stuff that you don't see behind the scenes. We've got to fix this weld here. I don't know if I'm going to do that with you guys or off camera. I'm basically just going to smooth that out and try to kind of make it invisible. And I've still got to yank all my bearings and everything on these cases because I'm going to be reusing them, and we're going to send these to Moto Blast and get them vapor blasted. They'll be silver. They'll kind of look like this right here, and it'll be looking really nice and clean. But just a lot of work that I've been doing off camera. There is a lot of work that I don't show you guys when you're restoring these machines. If you're ever doing it and you're like, dude, this is taking forever, sometimes that's just the way it is. Now, coming inside, I wanted to show you guys this front fender. So in the last video, I opened up these brand new plastics. These are from a company called DC Plastics. I had never heard of them before. I've never used any of their plastics or even seen them. So it was kind of cool to see these. They're in pretty nice, you know, they're pretty nice fit and finish, but the one thing was the vents were not cut out. So I went ahead and cut out the vents. I've got the OEM one right here. So it's to mimic the OEM look. You can see the fender itself is just slightly smaller in its overall profile. I think when it's on the bike, it's something that you wouldn't really notice, but definitely adding those vents gives it that OEM look. You guys were right, and I wanted to show you guys because some people were like, oh, Mike, just blowtorch this, and you can bring the color back, and it'll be like a brand new fender. I really don't think so. It may look like it's in decent shape, but I don't know if you guys can see all the little pitting and stuff. This plastic is very, very brittle, and some of you, look, some of the purists are going to be like, oh, what are you doing? But this fender is gone, man, okay? Just accept it. It's gone. Look at this thing, dude. Look how flimsy this is. It is so flimsy. Now look at this one. The whole thing picks up. It doesn't even flex. So granted, this is probably a little bit thinner, but oh, look. See it cracking already? This is so thin, and it's everywhere. In fact, if you come to the corner here, ooh, it just kind of crumbles. So, not looking too good, man. So the guys that said just heat it up with a blowtorch, if you think you can fix this fender, man, let me know in the comments section below. But unfortunately, I think this one's headed for the trash. Now you can see how this roll cage is supposed to attach to the triple tree clamps. It bolts both and the sides at the top and then the front at the bottom down here. So what I can do is we're gonna have to, for this BVC kit, you do have to take the steering stem and transfer it over. That's no problem. And what I'm thinking is, you know, I could make this floating assembly of these forks and then fit up the cage on the bench. But I'm just afraid that, you know, the spacing may not be 100% correct. So we've got both frames here. I haven't punched out the bearing races for the steering shaft. So I think it will be easier and more accurate to put this together and then put it on the frame and then fit it up on the frame. And then we'll know it's gonna fit. We can tear it down, send everything out to get coated. We don't have to worry about it. So for this, we're gonna break out the 12-ton press. If you don't have one of these, you can pick them up at Harbor Freight. I've found like 1,000,001 uses for this thing. It's freaking awesome. If you don't have a press, I'm not sure that there's any other way that you can get these things out. So if you don't have the press, man, I can't help you, okay? I just can't. So we're gonna go ahead and press this through. You wanna make sure when you do this that you have support really close to where the post is. If you I've made the mistake of putting support way out like this, and the whole damn thing will actually flex, and then it's just bad news. So you wanna make sure, I got like a hole in the steel plate, and that usually allows it to press out nice and safely, and nothing breaks. Oh man, that's a lot of pressure. I always get kind of nervous when I'm dealing with anything high pressure like this, because like things can explode. Seriously though. All right, I found an axle nut that fits around the steering shaft with just a little bit of play, and that'll be perfect support all the way around here, and we can start pressing through and at least get it going, I don't know, like 1/2 inch there. It's also very possible that this has just never been removed in like 40 years, and it's gonna be really, really tight. That is possible. Man, we are crunching down on that bastard. Try heating this up a little bit. See if the aluminum expands. Steel and aluminum, man. Shit is probably oxidized. Guess all we can do is heat it up and give it another shot. Probably isn't helping that we have the bearing on there as well. Man. Man, there's a lot of weight on there. I understand that if that does explode, these glasses are not going to stop the burning hot shards of steel from hitting me in the face, but it makes me feel better, all right? Give me a break. You know, we've got 2 of these. Let's see if the other one is just as seized as this one. Maybe we're fighting this for no reason. Oh. That's got to be like the full 12 tons. This is quite seized. Whoa! Whew. I think we got it. That was crazy. When that thing broke loose, The whole damn thing was like vibrating in my hand for like 20 seconds afterwards, man. And we'll see if we can get it pushed through the rest of the way. I imagine it'll be a lot easier. Maybe not. This thing is just super tight. There we go. Do you hear the vibrations? I mean, mine just pulled out by hand. I don't know about yours. Get the finish in there, man. It's like a mirror. We'll give this a quick cleaning with the soft wire wheel before we put it back. I wanted to stop to take a minute to thank you for making it this far into the video. I also wanted to stop to thank the companies and sponsors that are helping to make this project possible. Both of these Tri-Z's came from Power Sports Nation. Power Sports Nation is the largest parts provider for ATVs and UTVs in the country. If you guys follow the channel, you've probably seen me name drop them quite a few times. Now, if you are looking for parts, I encourage you to go to the Power Sports Nation website. While they did provide the parts for this project, what they specialize in is utility ATVs and side-by-side parts. The search engine on their website works great, and it's consistently updated with the new machines and parts that they get into inventory. I'd also like to thank Bonehead Performance Coatings, BBC TRIKES, Rocket Ron Racing, Rocky Mountain ATV, Moto Blast, Hermosi, and Wicked Metal Designs. These are all companies I trust, and most of them I use on a regular basis. Links and promo codes will be listed in the description below. If you're enjoying the video so far and looking for a way to help out, giving the video a thumbs up, leaving a comment below, or subscribing to the channel all help out a ton. Products and tools in the video are listed in the description below, and purchasing from those links does help me out a lot. I get a small kickback from that, and there's no extra cost to you. And if you're looking to support the channel even further, there is the option to join. All channel members get guaranteed responses to their YouTube comments. All right, guys, I am done talking. Let's get back to the video. All right, now we will press it into our brand new BVC billet triple tree clamps. And believe it or not, I had this tool in there. Isn't it funny? You make tools and then you forget about them. It says steering stem bush or steering bearing press right on there, man. So at one point in time, I made this. As you can tell, I don't do this too frequently. These triple tree clamps. But I actually had a tool that I made for them. Now I did put a little bit of grease on this steering stem. Wow. That was a little bit easier putting it in than it was taking it off. So there is our clamp with our brand new pre-owned stem installed. Flawless, besides, you know, the trillion tons that we had to push down on it to get the old one out, but that's okay. There is one other thing to do. Believe it or not, we're going to put the old bearing back in place because, for two reasons. One, because I don't have the new bearing here yet, and also because this is just for test fitment, so we can put it in the frame and make sure that our headlight bracket works. So I'd rather we're going to be taking this, I have to take this off again because I'm planning on getting these either Cerakoted or anodized gold. I think gold or gunmetal, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. But let's get this on here. This, even though it doesn't matter if we destroy this bearing, this nut is really helping me out here. It's got the exact same inner, the inner radius is the same size as the inner race of the bearing. So we'll be able to do this and press down like so with our press, and it should press that right on. Man, I don't know what I'd do without this press. Easy, caused no damage, and it didn't even try to kill me. All right, let's get this steering stem in place. I'm gonna tie this down to the bench so we have a nice solid area to work with. That should be pretty good. All right, let's get this in place. Don't have to worry about grease or anything. This is coming back off. We got our bearing, our dust shield. This is an upgrade, by the way, these tapered bearings. The factory ones have ball bearings on the top anyways. I think the bottom is still a tapered bearing. I'm just going to snug this down. Even back it off a little. Biggest thing is I want the spacing to be correct. We've got the top of our triple tree. nut. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the 150R forks to put in here to line these up, so I'm going to use a straight edge, and that should be just fine. That looks straight right there. It looks like we're good. All right, man, another small victory. We're doing good. We're doing good. So I put the headlight housing inside our straightened guard or frame, whatever you want to call it. It looks good. And I'm mocking it up here on our bars, and I have, or the clamps. I have an idea of how I want to do this. So that's about how it's going to sit. So I'm going to turn this so you guys can see here. So my plan is to set this headlight housing right about here where it would normally be, and then take bar stock and go from here to here and from here to here. I think that'll be nice and clear. Actually, I'm going to cut these tabs off, and I'm just going to go right to the steel frame, weld a bracket onto this headlight housing, go straight there, and then this one will be straight back here. I've got the bar stock right here. This is pretty thick. It's 3/16 inch thick by 3/4. I want this to be really strong because, you know, this cage is only as strong as its weakest link, and that's why it was all bent up, because this thing probably rolled at some point in time and it just took the cage with it. So we want to make it as strong as possible. I don't think it's going to be roll proof, but I think we'll have a fighting chance with that there. And then in the back, there's these things right here. They go on, there's these pegs. See these little pegs here? And we're going to deal with that afterwards. So let's get it in place, and then we'll see about making a bracket that's going to go down here for those little pegs. And that'll be it as far as the headlight housing goes, hopefully. So the first thing I want to do is cut the bar stock and get these in place. So it's going to go like this. There's a little bit of a gap in between because this bulges out where the clamp is. So we're going to make it, we're going to put a little spacer in there. For now, I'm probably just going to use like a nut or something just to put in between. But I'm going to drill a hole here, and we'll throw the nut through, or the bolt through, and then I'll measure where this needs to be cut. We'll make one for both sides, and then once that's in place, we'll do the ones for the top. I measured, and these nuts are the perfect spacer. So I may even use these unless I have nicer ones on hand. Once this is welded up and we do finishing work, it'll look nice. I'm not worried about just having like a nut as a spacer, because that would look pretty crappy. So we'll put that here. Now I forgot to press record on my camera, but basically I was just mocking up the bar stock so I could make my cut line. All right, no special tools needed. You could even do this with a manual hacksaw if you wanted. This Milwaukee is another tool that I find myself using a lot. It's a great tool. I'll have it linked in the description below if you want to get one. There's that. And I'm going to go ahead and make a second one of these. Before I get ready to tack these in place, I'm just going to round the edges, kind of clean it up a little bit, because I'm going to do a little bit of finishing work after we get everything in place. Before we tack this, I want to clean up my contact area. Right about there is where this needs to be. I'm going to mark this. I should be able to get this to hold in place. That looks pretty good. Before I take this off, we might as well measure our top brackets too. All right, now before I weld these on up top, I'm gonna delete these tabs. I think it'll be easier to do before the fact than after. I'm gonna weld my spacers in place real quick. Tack them anyways. Okay. Got my spacers tacked on the back already. Looks like I'm gonna have to bridge that gap right there, but that is no problem. All right, man, there it is. Got it all tacked together. Bridged the gaps pretty nicely. Now this is just tacked, so I'm gonna go around the back side of this and put a nice bead. Not till I take it off though, because you can see getting some splatter on our nice clamps. Now these are gonna get blasted and anodized anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. But it's actually pretty strong, even the way that it is. I'm not gonna go yanking on it. You can see lines up nice and straight with the clamps. That should look really good. I'm happy with that. Now it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm getting pretty tired, so I'm gonna wait till tomorrow and do this outside where I have more ventilation and stuff, because welding inside can kind of get smoky. So I will see you guys in the morning. Alrighty guys, it is the next day. Got my setup outside. My plan is to go in here, lay a nice bead, fill in these holes, do the same thing on the back side of the top brackets. Probably go around our nuts since they're just tacked in place. I'll try to finish them, make them look a little bit nicer. And basically, the bracket will be good to go. I'll mount it up, make sure it looks good. And one other thing I want to do is this area here where it got smashed. I'm going to fill that in with a little bit of weld so that I can smooth that out and try to make it look a little bit nicer than it is. Well, man, this came out pretty nice. There it is. I went ahead and cleaned up some of this. This is the corner that was mashed in. Smoothed out the welds on the side a little bit. Tried to make everything nice and even. So it doesn't look the best, but this will definitely be nice and strong and serve a good purpose. And then this is going to get coated in a texture black, so that should help hide some of the imperfections. But it really doesn't look too bad. Pop our headlight housing in here. And the way that this installs, you sort of come over the top on both of the triple trees, and it slides down in place. It's really tight to the clamps, which is what I wanted, because the more space that you have, the weaker things are. So, fit here, what's going on? There it goes. Man, this came out really good. I'm surprised how good the fitment is. Check this out. If you look at it, with the way the headlight housing sits, it's really nice and flush. Nice and even on both sides. The gaps look good. Look at the gaps between the plastic and the triple tree. It looks like it's made for it. Really looks good. If you come down here, you can see the contour of the plastic and how it sits just over top of the lower triple tree. And both sides are nice and even. It really looks good. If you look in the back, these are the stays. That's the only other thing that we'll need to do to make the entire housing fixed and solid. And I think I'm going to wait until the next video to do that because I'd like to get some aluminum bar stock. And kind of because there's this nice square edge right here, I'd like to put the bar stock flat up against this edge. That'll make it nice and straight and even on both sides. I'll put the bar stock there, and let me see if we come under here, it might be a little bit easier. The bar stock will hang over this edge and go up under to support the plastic. And then these posts are pressed into the lower triple tree, so I can press those out and I'll press them into the bar stock, and essentially it will be mounted the exact same way that it is on the stock setup. I think that'll be really, really nice. So I think it's worth waiting. I'm gonna go to the hardware store, pick up some bar stock, and we'll do that in the next video. But I'm really happy with the way that this is sitting right now. So we're one step closer, man. We're almost there. We're getting there. So this came out really nice. I really wanted to keep that OEM look, and you guys let me know in the comment section below. We're one step closer, but you know, we still got quite a bit of work to do. The other thing is, again, I want to change out these headlight housings to LEDs. That's going to be an entirely separate project. I had an idea. One of you guys actually gave me the idea in the comment section. Somebody said to get a 3D printer and have somebody with a 3D printer make the, like basically like an adapter to put the LED in, and then it would have the same housing as the OEM one. And that would be really nice because you could just put the adapter on the light and throw it in and we'd be done. We also have to strip the coating on these plastics because somebody black spray painted them, and hopefully the yellow underneath is in good shape. If not, we'll have to restore that too. But we are getting closer to the end result. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next video. We got tires on the way, we got more parts on the way and stuff, and other TRIKES stuff. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.